slash upload schedule. I was posting a lot of videos for a moment there, not really because that's sustainable for you or for me. You may not have even had time to watch all of those because I feel like a lot of us are really busy right now. Yeah, I know that I haven't had as much time for watching ASMR, which definitely takes a toll on my mental health. It's much better. My quality of life is much better when I have time to do that on like a daily or even a weekly basis. So it's totally possible you're in the same boat and you're not, you don't have as much time to watch. Then again, you know, the work that I do, like tutoring, I can't really have it on in the background. Whereas because of body image issues, facial dysmorphia, which, you know, I still have to contend with, but it's nowhere near as bad as it was at prior points. So that's when I really noticed my eye sensitivity, my dry eyes, my allergies, because sometimes I'd be fine, but other times my eyes would start tearing up during the day and they would not stop. Like, it just got worse and worse. The more I wiped them, the more I like tried to, you know, delicately get the tears out of my eyes without messing up my makeup. And the worst feeling in the world was when I was getting so weepy that my lashes would start coming off at the corners. Such a bad feeling, especially when you're like terrified of not having your false eyelashes on, because you can't just like take them off and be like, that didn't work out, like I'll retire them for the night and go the rest of the night, you know, just bare, not bare, see, that's how I thought of it, but like without falsies. So that was always the worst, and I just had to carry around really strong lash glue, layer lots. Like anytime I would put on falsies, I would go back and reinforce them even if they seemed to be on great. I would layer glue, never too much, because that can create a whole issue if you go too far with the lash glue. The whole thing just comes right off. You need thin layers. You don't want to get to that point when it's like a ball of rubber, because then it just lifts off all in one, you know. Anyway, same deal with when you put too much Elmer's glue as a kid, too much Elmer's glue between two sheets of paper and it's just like slipping around. So you want a nice thin layer, but I digress. So that was always a terrible feeling, and when I would be really frustrated with my eyes, and that's why it's much better when I have lash extensions. It becomes a thing of the past. Not to say I don't have anxiety, especially right after I get them filled. If I get really weepy, I think I don't let myself cry enough too when I have lash extensions, which is a problem because I have them for months at a time. I think I'll let myself like have a good sob when I'm getting near to a fill. And they're kind of raggedy anyway. But yeah, my partner is like, the one thing I don't like about when you have lash extensions, because he knows I'm like happier in general, he's like, I feel like you don't cry enough, like you hold in your tears. And it's true. I know that when I get weepy or when I cry, then my eyes get more irritated, even if I feel better physically in every other way. And it's so frustrating when my eyes get weepy. It happens a lot at night. Like, I'll wake myself up because tears will be streaming so intensely out of my eyes that it's like dripping on my neck and making me uncomfortable, because I'll feel like a wet feeling on my neck and, you know, down my cheeks and in my hair. Like, it'll drip down to the hair next to above my ears. Oh, it feels terrible. So that's so annoying, and that's also why, like, windy days where you have to run the air conditioning, days where you have to run the heat, anything that makes your eyes drier and then overcompensate with tears, anything that will kick off that weeping cycle. Once it starts, I can't stop. And I have noticed that it's worse with my left eye for whatever reason, whatever anatomical reason. My left eye is much more irritable and much more prone to weeping, like allergy weeping, dryness weeping, whatever kind of actually not a good candidate for LASIK. It may change over time, but in my family, a genetic trait, a kind of quirky one, is the women in my family, our eyes dilate really big. And apparently that doesn't really start to go away until our 30s, and I don't know what that's about. Like, sometimes I'll be looking at someone and they'll be like, your eyes are so dilated, it's not gonna happen on camera here because I have a light shining in my face. But yeah, sometimes they're so dilated that it looks like you could like stick the tip of your pinky in the black part in the pupil. So the issue with that is that until my eyes stop dilating so much, the little half moon scar that's left behind in your iris at the below your pupil from the incision point for LASIK, there's a risk that I would dilate regularly past that point, and the scar would be in my field of vision and create a big blur, like a big permanent floater. So I'm not a good candidate, and it's funny because I've gone to the hospital before. It's funny because I've gone to the hospital before for like kidney problems. So I was having kidney problems in college, and I was complaining of kidney pain, and my eyes were super dilated. And the hospital staff, like one person, very much assumed that I was on cocaine, which I was not, definitively. So poor me. I was just like in so much pain from like a kidney infection, and they were like treating me. Also, you shouldn't treat people who are substance users like that when they come to the hospital for help. But yeah, they were very suspicious of me. Wait, I think I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me first finish talking about the first component, which is like contacts. So yes, irritable eyes, contact issues, contact angst. But I do think that there's another thing at play that worsens these issues, again, like compounds them. Like, there are layers of issues, one on top of the other, and they're all playing into each other. I do think that I naturally blink less. I think it's worse when I have contacts in, and I think it's worse when I'm on camera. And I'll explain both of those. I have been told by lash artists that I don't blink all the way as it is. I don't completely close my eyes. I think this is because of contact discomfort, in part. Like, when I'm closing my eyes, I don't think I'm making good, healthy contact lid to lid, and that is bad for your eyes. And it's kind of hard. It's hard to train yourself to do differently. I think I'm just a really dense person, and I think, I'm always worried about my contacts moving, and it doesn't make it better because you need to be blinking to hydrate your contacts, but I think just the feeling of them kind of moving when I blink and the anxiety of them, like something happening with them, I think it subconsciously has created an aversion. I also think that I am very zone prone as a person. my body to do something that to other people seems mechanically improbable or difficult or uncomfortable. You know, like, I've had issues with my bladder and with my kidneys because I will, not anymore, but I used to hold my pee for so long. It was not good. And I never, ever, ever had an experience with an accident because I just think I was like, whereas I do know other people who, like, I've been around friends and family when they've like wet themselves trying to hold their pee in a long line or, you know, at an event or something. So, we're all different, and I do think that I have that level of, like, that ability to exert bodily control in a very unhealthy way, and it's manifested in some quirks over time. That's my best guess. I also leave room for, like, maybe there's something neurodivergent happening as well. Obviously I have OCD, but like maybe something beyond that, because I do get feedback from my partner, not that I blink less, but that I struggle with eye contact. And this is just like, to me, like, I do perceive this as like, I do imagine someone, I imagine you all on the other side of this. In a weird way, I imagine one person, but representative of the collective of my audience, you know. So yeah, it is like the camera is a person with whom I'm having conversation by proxy, and like right there, it can be hard to just keep looking, and I think I much prefer being like over here, and I do notice that I blink more when I give myself permission to just be zoned out over here. So yeah, that's a possibility as well. I'm just not like super, I don't know, I'm not super concerned about it. Read into it what you will. I do mostly think that it's a mechanical aversion having to do with contacts and like anxiety around like tearing up and not wanting that to happen, and so I've learned something that ironically makes it worse, but just because I'm like nervous around my eyes and uncomfortable around my eyes. And then I do think there's like a zoniness happening as well. Like, I just watched with one of my students, I watched the 2005 Pride and Prejudice for the umpteenth time because we just finished reading the book. And there's a shot of Keira Knightley, and she's got her like shawl wrapped around herself, and she's staring in the mirror, and she does not blink for the entire shot, I noticed. And I think it's because she's like zoned out, and then she like comes to and she's like, and you know, immediately starts blinking again, but or at least I think she does, but like there's a clear delineation, like she's in a zone and then she comes out of it. And I was like, I can spot that. If you spot it, you got it. And I was like, yep, I know that feeling. So yeah, and I feel like a lot of people who experience ASMR are zone prone. Wouldn't you agree? It's a kind of trance, right? It may not manifest the same way with your eyes, with your blinking, but yeah. Anyway, so I do kind of need to relearn how to blink correctly. So that all comes back to what happened when I went to the optometrist. I don't really remember too much. I planned to make this video right after I went in October, but life happened. But she did a test because I was like, yeah, I do think I'm having a lot of dry eyes. And she did a test with some sort of liquid that turns yellow under a light and shows like dry patches. And she was like, yeah, you're not completely closing your eyes, and you especially have dry patches right where they should, the two curtains should come together, but they don't, right? In that exposed area, you have a lot of dryness, especially on the left. Lots of yellow patches there. So she first said, let's try to fix the ripping contacts, and she gave me 2 boxes of, see, they're open. I already used them up. boxes of a different kind of contact. I usually use the AccuView Oasis. Is that right? The Aqua something Oasis Daily something. I think it's AccuView actually. I don't know. Aqua Comfort. Yeah, the Aqua Comfort Oasis thingy-majiggies. But she gave me these to try, and I didn't notice a huge difference. It wasn't like, oh my god, finally my eyes know comfort. It was like, they always feel good when you first put them on, and then the question is how they wear throughout the day, and for me that has much more to do with how tired I am, how much I'm in air conditioning. Like, it's the bane of my existence the time of year when we have to have air conditioning blowing in the car because my eyes are so dry and irritated by the time I get to any given event. And if I have falsies on, if I don't have lash extensions, then I'm just so anxious because I'm probably already tearing up, already weeping, and I'm like, am I gonna lose my lashes tonight? Oh, that makes me so anxious to think about. Thank goodness that's not life at this moment. Something for which to be grateful. So yeah, she gave me these and I was like, whatever. I mean, I was grateful for that problem-solving energy, but I was like, I just think this is my eyes with contacts. I'm already wearing dailies, you know, and I'm already taking them off once they feel too dry. And like I suspected, these did not make much of a difference, and they were a little bit more expensive, and I could not justify that. So and I don't mean to be dismissive of like the big difference, that differences in formulation, like different medical tech can make for people. I just knew for me the issue did not begin and end there. So, and then she was like, okay, you're also gonna need to start treating your allergies, even though they don't, like, you don't really notice them, you don't identify as having itchy eyes. It's possible your symptom is like weeping. So she had me pick up, she had me pick up this eye drop, and I have to put them in 10 minutes before my contacts every morning. And then she suggested eye drops. Revolutionary. See, I take such poor care of myself in some ways. Like, especially if on some level I'm doing something out of like a subconscious need for control, for bodily control, or out of anxiety, then I'm even more recalcitrant, even less likely to, I don't know, take charge, to take steps in a healthier direction, you know, a problem-solving direction. There's an obstinacy there. So yeah, I got these and I use them sometimes. How annoying am I? How annoying am I? And then this one's not even open, I regret to admit. But I picked up this night gel. She said that I need to basically slather my eyes when I go to sleep because I'm not closing them all the way. So they're getting really dried out in the course of the night. So she was like, you need to goop up your eyes. You need to put a protective barrier on them while you sleep. So there's this. Yeah. So these are all the tacks we've taken So a jelly, I don't know. I mean, that would probably stop the cycle of the weeping, but like, then I'd literally have my eyelash extensions sitting in an ointment overnight, unless I could really, like, unless it really just stayed in my eye. Anyway, see what a bad patient I am. I'm very stubborn. Very stubborn. There are some things about which I'm so good, and I do like such a good, consistent, healthy job. And then there are these areas where I'm such a teenager not wanting to put on my jacket. You know, it's cold out, you should take a jacket, go fuck yourself. I don't know what that's about. Cutting off my nose to spite my face. Anyway, I don't know if I made anything any clearer. You're probably just left with questions like, what the fuck is the matter with you? I probably raised more questions than I answered. But for what it's worth, those are my working theories as to why I blink less. Why I blink so seldom compared to other people. I don't know, maybe I'm just an alien. I don't feel like this was a very relaxing video so much as like, I don't know. Maybe it was relaxing, maybe not. I feel like this wasn't as relaxing a video as it could have been if I'd focused more on like tapping on the products and stuff, but for some reason it was like stressing me out talking about this stuff. There's something there. Should make a note and talk to my therapist about it. I think I'm just self-conscious. I mean, I can handle it. It's fine. It's the internet. But like, when someone points out something and makes it seem like it's like really, really strange, and it wasn't even like on your radar, so you don't really know